Phil, you've joined us on the outreach stand as well. Have you been a member at Brooklands for long?
Well, I've been a club member now for some 3 years. I've been a club member, and the reason why I became a club member is that I can get my wife up into the restaurant upstairs. She likes classic cars as well, but if it takes me being a club member for a cause I actually believe in a great deal, because Brooklands is a wonderful place to be. I quite like the idea of actually bringing the car along here as well, and I knew someone here on the outreach stand, and this is a good way of actually showing my cars to people, to show them what a real Lotus 7 looks like. And this is a special Lotus 7, because at the end of the Lotus 7 run, 1969-1970, they built 13 only of these cars. One of them went off to America. It had yet another type of engine in. But 12 of the cars had twin-cam engines. And this is one, a twin-cam engine designed by Lotus, but worked on by Holbay, who were specialists in working on these sort of competition cars in days gone by. So this is the Lotus 7 twin-cam SS, one of 12 really, with this type of engine. And it's always used like this. I always drive it without side screens, without a roof, just like this with a tonneau. I get very cold sometimes, very wet sometimes, but I really don't care.
And where do you drive her?
Well, this one has gone into... It came back from Europe a long time ago, but I've driven this one just 2 years ago all the way up to Scotland and back. A place that's Crieff Hydro. I don't say that particular name, but Crieff Hydro near Perth and Stirling. All the way there, all the way back, the car gave no trouble whatsoever.
Now, I mean, by my standards, that's quite a short road trip. However, with no roof and with the amount of rain you tend to get in Scotland, that's quite brave.
Well, some call it silly as well, but nevertheless, I suppose in the way it is. I think I did about, I think in the whole, about 2,500 miles on that particular trip, because there's a lot of travelling up in Scotland itself as well. But just like this, yes, I suppose it was a long way, but nevertheless, it's rather wonderful to be in a car like this at times like.
And did you get wet?
Always get wet. I've been extremely wet and very cold in these cars. It was on display at the NEC Classic Car Show back in 2017, and I was on the M42 and quite literally driving it like this, but there was sleet, there was snow on the side tonneau, on the frontal windscreen, and I was being looked at, and there were people laughing and smiling. I don't think because they're taking the mickey. I think it's because they realised that I was enjoying myself so much, who cares about getting wet and getting cold?
I think people just love seeing these cars on the road. As I say, it is something special, and more special when you know what's under the bonnet and the story behind it.
Yeah. Well, it weighs nothing. This is glass fibre, aluminium on a space frame chassis. You could literally push it with one hand. It's of a weight which really is very, very light indeed. And this is one of the heavier versions of similar cars. They're much lighter cars than this one around, but the power of the engine is such that it goes extremely well.
And do you ever take part in the auto tests here? Because I'm sure they handle very well.
They do handle remarkably well. No, I'm a driver for these cars on the roads rather than the drive.
Scenic tours.
Yeah, the actual sporting thing. I'm well aware of my own limitations and so on. I'm well aware this car's capability is far greater than it will ever be, my ability to actually cope with it. But I love driving the car like this. The engine is fantastic, the noise is fantastic, the whole experience is one of really quite exceptional sort of use, really.
Oh, I've just seen you've got an Airy tuning sticker on there as well, Tom Airy's garage, you've had a rolling road tuned as well.
It's had a rolling road tuned as well from Tom Airy in those days.
Yeah, Tom's very good.
He looked at the carburetors for me at that time because when I first bought it way back when, it had incorrect carburetors on it. I found these eventually. The right carburetor's gone because I'm quite precise about trying to get it as original as possible.
So Weber's you've got on there?
Yeah, so Weber carburetors, Type 31 Weber carburetors. But they're the correct carburetors for this particular type of engine. And so Mr. Airy, in all his wisdom and so on, he's probably forgotten more about these carburetors than I've ever known. So he sorted it out for me. And quite literally, the car has been magnificent as a consequence of it.
Certainly a top man for tuning carbs. He sorted out a balance issue on twin SUs for me on my Sebring.
Yeah. No, he's well known. Whether he's still in business, I don't know, but he's certainly worth looking up if he's still around. But as I say, I drive it like this. I always drive it just without a roof and so on. Sadly, it rained on me so much down at the racetrack down in Castle Combe, where the top tonneau shrunk, and it pulled the centre zip. and there's a gap in the centre zip, and it's still raining. It rained all day. I had to get home from Castle Combe, best part of 80 odd miles back to where I live. But the car, I couldn't really cover it over. I had nothing with me to cover it over. And there's a gap in the centre where the zip had actually pulled apart. And so I went home in a bath, quite literally.
Rain running down the inside of the windscreen.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we live in England, so that's one of the hazards of living in this country.
Obviously,
we're lucky enough today. We've got a beautiful sunny day today, and the blue is just really popping in the sunlight.
Well, that's an original colour. That's an electric metallic blue, a Rolls-Royce colour of period.
Lovely.
Electric metallic blue. And it looks very good with the car. But you talk of rain, I've just come over to Spa in Belgium about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it rained the vast majority of the time. And another one of these that I've got, and I spend most of the weekend cold, wet.
Again, the Spa Grand Prix, it's usually raining.
Oh, exactly right.
It's another very wet area.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely car. I love it to bits. It's very good to obviously support Brooklands on something like this, and that's what I'm doing here today. But as all these other cars are supporting what is frankly a good cause.
Well, thank you very much for bringing her along and supporting Brooklands, and enjoy the rest of the day in the sun.
I certainly will do that. And thank you for your interest in the car as well. Okay. Thank you.